About a year ago, my cousins invited my entire family to see a movie at their church, and for me, that should have rang alarm bells. Because I should have known that this would be a Christian propaganda film that I would be looking at. It was a movie called Courageous, I believe. It was really sickening to see how much they tried to shove Jesus and God down the throats of willing believers. But, when push came to shove, they didn't force me to see the film. I came of my own volition for two reasons. One, because I was genuinely curious what kind of movie they would even bother showing at church. And two, because I thought it'd be a good opportunity to spend some time with my family. But what I will say is that the movie itself, again, was dreadful. Every single minute of it, from 30 minutes onward, is essentially preaching gospel. And in the most non-subtle, not even close to real-life dialogue sort of way. And at the time, I thought that was the worst movie I'd ever seen. And that's including Batman and Robin, for fuck's sake. And this is not because I'm an atheist. It's not because I'm intolerant of allusions to the Bible or to any other religion, for that matter. It's because it was a genuinely bad movie. Worst movie to date. Until I saw the trailer for this piece of garbage.
God's not dead, he's surely alive. He's living on the inside, roaring like a lion. God's not dead, he's surely alive.
Oh my fucking god, is it bad.
You prayed and believed your whole life, and here you are. Explain that to me.
In a few minutes, you guys are going to go out there and sing about God and Jesus as if they're as real as you and me.
To us, they are as real.
And already, not 20 seconds into the video, we already see the atheist being portrayed, of course, as this raging anti-theist, socially inept, horrible, and dogmatic in every sense of the word. And the funny thing is, it's so ironic because in reality, it's mostly Christians that are like this, not atheists. I will grant that, of course, there are atheists out there who are like that and who will shove what they believe down other people's throats. But for the most part, it's not atheists that tend to act like this. It's the religious.
When a 12-year-old watches his mother dying of cancer, a God who would allow that is not worth believing in.
It's only fair, right? Why would a 12-year-old, presumably someone who hasn't committed much wrongdoing in their life, be sentenced to a life-threatening illness that will cause them a lot of pain? And we know these things to happen in reality. It's not uncommon. It's not unheard of. These things happen. Bad things happen to good people. And the worst part is that this isn't even the end of their punishment if they're atheists or believers in other religion, because these people would then be sentenced to eternal hellfire. So really, what sort of justice do you think this God uses when he does things like this?
Name? Wheaton. Josh Wheaton. Philosophy 150. You might want to think about a different instructor. Come on, man, it can't be that bad.
Think Roman Colosseum, people cheering for your death.
I'm Professor Radisson. This is Philosophy 150. I would like to bypass senseless debate altogether and jump to the conclusion, which every sophomore is already aware of: there is no God.
So it looks like this professor is a raging anti-theist, and on the very first day of class where he introduces himself, he goes up in the front of the class and proclaims that there is no God and there is no debate about it. Now, in reality, if a Christian university student felt that a university professor was infringing on their right to believe, or if an atheist professor made such a claim, that professor's head would be on a stick in less than 24 hours, because raging Christian fundamentalist parents would call for this guy's job, call for this guy's head, pretty much, and this guy would be history. So, really, what university do you know of that allows professors to inflict their beliefs, or lack thereof, on their students? And really, the atheist, or in this case, the anti-theist, is portrayed as this fucking know-it-all scumbag professor who does not allow for any sort of dissent whatsoever in his class, because he just thinks that he's the fucking man and he knows everything because he's smart and he's a professor, and he just somehow can be God of the classroom, right? Again, I have to ask, which side tends to emulate this behavior more? The atheist or the theist? I leave that up for you to decide.
All that I require from each of you is that you fill in the papers I've just given you with 3 little words. God is dead. Mr. Wheaton, is something wrong?
I can't do what you want. I'm a Christian.
If you cannot bring yourself to admit that God is dead, then you will need to defend the antithesis.
Have we already not established in my Messed Up Christian Stories series that the classroom is not a place for religious debate? That should be done on your own time, on your own schedule, and your own dollar. When I go to class, which I paid for partially by my own money, I expect to be taught class material, not put up with this bullshit.
I think of Jesus as my friend.
You think Jesus is God?
I don't want to disappoint him.
So your acceptance of this challenge may be the only meaningful exposure to God and Jesus they'll ever have.
And really, how Christian does that make you if you are willing to force your beliefs on everyone in the class in the same way that the professor has? And yeah, he said, okay, you can go defend your position and blah, blah, blah. Well, that doesn't make you any better than him, even if you do win said debate.
To me, he's not dead. I don't want anyone to get talked out of believing in him just because this professor thinks they should.
Okay, Christian warrior for Christ, listen up. If anyone, Christian or otherwise, is so weak-minded that one person, no matter how much authority they carry, is somehow able to convert or deconvert their position by simply expressing their personal disapproval, they shouldn't be believing in the first place. They should have the courage to stand by their beliefs, as you do. They may not have to defend it in a very bigoted manner that would equal or rival that of this scumbag professor, but guess what? If you really truly do believe in a God, then at least be honest with yourself and have the strength to admit if that belief is justified. And if you think it is, then you have every right to still continue believing. But if you don't think it's justified, then how is it wrong to accept something entirely different? How is it wrong to be honest with yourself and with your own beliefs?
Mr. Wheaton, are you ready?
We're going to put God on trial.
If you think you're smarter than me, Wheaton, in that classroom, there is a God, and I'm him.
Could this character get any more over the top with the stereotype? Like, he honestly just proclaimed himself to be God. The amount of arrogance involved in that. Is this what rednecks teach their kids? That atheists really are like? That we proclaim ourselves to be gods above everyone else? Really?
You just want to ensnare them in your primitive superstition.
What I want is for them to make their own choice. That's what God wants.
Yeah, I want to give them a choice. You either believe as I do, or fuck you, you're going to hell. And I'm going to enjoy watching you burn. That's a great choice, don't you think?
You have no idea how much I'm going to enjoy failing you.
Yeah, but who are you really looking to fail? Me or God?
What can I say? Is there anything I can say? So if the professor can't win the argument except by cheap tactics like failing the student, then why is he worth listening to? Why would any student in that classroom still want to listen to that professor when he's ranting and raving about God non-existing? Any sensible, logical person with a modicum of common sense would realize that this professor's act is entirely a shambles, and they would presumably want to believe in a God, right? So why are you so convinced that you need to win your case for God in the first place, when this professor, first of all, sounds like a raving lunatic, and second of all, even if people are dumb enough to believe this raving lunatic to begin with, they would surely not believe him after that statement was uttered.
Science supports his existence.
Science supports God's existence, because I said so. No evidence required.
Since you know the truth.
Woo! Preach it! He knows that deep down inside his heart that God exists. It's not like other people of other religions say the exact same thing. You know that God exists.
So why do you hate him? It's a very simple question. Why do you hate God?
God's not dead, he's surely alive.
You know, considering that this movie is trying to portray Christians as the logical ones here, they're sure not doing a damn good job of it. So these are tactics I'd expect to see from slimeball preachers like Ray Comfort. I can't accept that you have a perfectly reasonable, logical position against my belief in God, so I'm just going to discredit your position by attacking you ad hominem and asking you why you hate God. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. I'm a believer now. I think the people making this trailer pretty much gave up in trying to show that this movie is going to be unbiased because they don't even present a single argument for atheism in that little segment. Whereas they show this Christian walking around going, oh, you know God exists, it's scientifically proven, blah, blah, blah. Not a single argument is presented on either side, especially not the atheist side. On the contrary, the atheist is like, oh, well, God doesn't exist, there's no debate. Like, how about the problem of evil? How about the Euthyphro dilemma? How about how it's morally reprehensible to create people in one way and condemn them for following their nature? How about how it's just evil beyond words to punish children who may not even have the capacity to understand God, and to sentence them to eternal hellfire because they did not believe? How about those things? Are those things not problems? Are those things not logically and morally inconsistent with a reasonable, moral God? Do you think we atheists have no right to complain when theists make all sorts of bullshit claims like this? Fuck you, movie. Fuck you, people who made the trailer. Fuck you, people who made the movie. And fuck you if you like this movie trailer. May the truth always be heard.